welcome to Potato Water Thursday. It's podcast time. Check it out. Brent Rambie is in the house. We got Brent here today. I've known Brent for maybe 10, 15 years. He's been coming in the store, paints. We got chatting one day, and the next thing I know, I'm in his basement looking at his paintings, and jaw dropper. I was like, I had no idea. And you know, it's funny like that in the store sometimes. You sell stuff to people, you have no idea whether they're good, whatever's going on. But anyways, welcome, Brent. Thank you for coming.
No, well, thank you for having me.
All right, we're in.
We're talking art.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we were just chatting the other day. We didn't even know this, but Ryan, who does all of this, went to school and did micromanaging, editing, filming, music stuff, and went to school for this for music production and I don't know, all that stuff. And he played drums, and your son did all that stuff too.
Yes, he did. He was a guitar player in a couple bands, and now he works at a recording studio and does graphic work on the side.
Well, it's just
art's in him,
right? It's all the same thing: graphic work, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all
Didn't he have a production studio in your house at one point?
In the house, yep, in the basement for a couple of years until I pretty well had enough. And that was that. And he moved on in life and had a family, and he still does the sound work and graphic work still at the same time, juggling it all.
Right? But it all goes hand in hand, all that editing and production and all of that. So you were smart, though. Your son played guitar. I didn't think that through. My son played drums. That was for a long time not good. Right? Oh, me, my neighbors, everyone, and everyone heard quite a few years of very bad drumming.
Well, I heard it all too.
It was it finally started to get, when he finally started to get good, I bought him an electric drum set. Then you couldn't hear it, and it was like, he's finally good, and then I do that. Like, okay, whatever. Anyways, buddy. So let's talk. Let's
you betcha.
Let's
lots to talk about.
Art. So I've got to ask you this though, because I understand why the art, what you're doing.
Right.
I understand all that because you are a steel worker.
Hence,
right? Was your dad a steel worker?
Yes, he was. As a matter of fact, he's got me into it.
What's a steel worker?
Well, oil well casing. I did some work in rebar. I did some work in scrap metaling. All of that kind of stuff. Because when I was growing up, being an artist was unheard of.
Right.
So it was just, you go into, I always tell the story, and it's kind of a joke, but my dad was a mechanic kind of guy, a big beard, tattoos, motorcycles. And I remember, this must have been early teens, and I've told the story lots, but I can remember going to my dad saying, "Dad, I know what I want to do." And he looked at me and he said, "What?" A cigarette in his hand, a beer in the other hand. I said, "I want to be an artist." And he looked at me long and he said, "Go mow the lawn." Because in his mind,
funny.
It wasn't, you don't become an artist, right? What's an artist?
Well, listen, my dad called it always art. He was a mechanical engineer.
Right.
So, his thing was always something about I can't draw a straight line. And I would always look at him and I said, "Well, I can't draw a straight line either. But the difference between you and me is I can draw everything around that line and make it perceived to be straight."
Right. Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, that's too philosophic for me. Yeah. You arty-farty types. I don't get it."
Yeah.
Right? It was always that way. Like art, and my parents kind of shook their head like, "Seriously, art? Like, ooh, that's going to be a tough haul."
It's a generation too, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. In that era, a job
in that area, you didn't dare to dream. You get up, you go to work. That's what you do.
And that's what I did, right? Yeah. On top of it all, I kept going because I took that more as a challenge, not as a, I'm done. I thought, nope, I'm still going to do it.
So how are you retired from that then?
Oh, yeah. I retired a few years ago. Like, I did almost 33 years and out type of thing, right? It was done. I could have moved on still more. But it was time.
But as I said at the beginning of this, that's what led to the trains. That's what led to the trucks and all the steel stuff that you painted. And then that sort of led to people in trucks, which has led you to people. And now you're just a fantastic, accomplished, I guess I'd even say a portrait artist, but a people painter and a storyteller. All of your paintings tell stories.
You betcha. And that's where the trains come to. Even the smell of the steel. You can't paint a train unless you're on a train.
Right.
Or you've sat in a train, or you work with steel and you smell oil and that kind of stuff. So, if you want to paint a truck, go and hang around old trucks and go work on old trucks. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I got 30 years of experience of steel.
Wow.
You can feel my trains. You can smell them. You can, so that's how it works, right? A lot of people go, oh my Lord, that's, that train is amazing. Well, it should be. I've studied trains I've studied steel for 30 years, right? It better,
right.
It better be, right?
Right.
And I got more into the portraits later on when I got into graphic design work and I started getting into illustrating and stuff, right? I thought that's more of an accomplished way of being an artist. I was wrong, I think, at the end for me. But at the time, that's a direction that I went into. So I started getting into illustrating, and stuff like that. So that's where my figurative painting started to come in, and drawing and stuff like that.
Right. So were you painting while you were steelworking and
always
coming home and?
I have never not stopped.
That's awesome.
Every day, and I still do it every day. I have not had a day. Really, that I've not.
Do you remember buying paints and going, "This is it. I'm going to do this"?
I would buy whatever I could to put on canvas.
That's awesome.
or paper. Illustrating was mostly drawing at the time, right? Because it was like faster, and I was a really good drawer, so I could get the product out on time. And that's what I found in the illustrating. That what I thought was a blessing at first slowly become a nightmare.
Hey, just look at how many of the super famous, most times, these Western artists.
Yeah.
They're all accomplished Western painters, but they all come from a graphic illustrative background. And they all said, oh, well, I went through that and whatever. It taught me how to draw, that's for sure. But they said, oh, it's being a slave. All they ever wanted to do was fine art. I don't want to do more of that crap. I want to do this. But they all say, it taught me what I needed to know.
It taught me discipline.
Yeah.
And which was a double-edged sword, right? I mean, later on the discipline became a nightmare too on it. And I'm not dishing on it because it is, there's good money in it. The recognition at first is phenomenal. I mean, who can argue with seeing your name on the back of a book? Right. At first, when you're young, it was like, holy shit, this is so flattering. Whereas thin after a while, but it just got to the point I was wearing dress pants and a tie more than I was painting.
Ouch.
So I was going to meetings.
What's a tie?
Yeah, well, it ended up being it was like one of those. But it was just starting to get to be deadlines and this and that, and at first it was right on, I'm there, and then it was like I got to get out of here.
That became a job.
It did, and once that happened, and like I said, I'm not cutting it down because my son does phenomenal graphic work, stuff I can't do. I wouldn't go back to that.
Yeah, well,
could not do.
I've never been a graphic guy, though. I will say that this past year, I have diligently spent my time working through Procreate, which is kind of like Photoshop, but in a way, I don't want to know Procreate, and I don't want to do Photoshop. I can't even stand Photoshop. But there are things digitally that are cool to be able to do and to design.
Yeah.
And it helps me in the fine art end. And I hated not being able to migrate any of it. I navigate it, I guess is what I would say. I couldn't navigate. You turn it on. I don't know what to do. Anyways, I signed up for a class and took some classes and I'm farting around with it and I'm having a lot of fun and I enjoy it. But it's my time, me. I'm doing it. I'm using it for what I want to use it for. I don't need to know everything. But at least I don't feel like I'm lost out there somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Or you're forced to learn it because you have a deadline to.
Well, yeah. Like I say, so that whole thing comes to, thank God, my son here. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
He waves in the back, just sits there. He's not even wearing pants. Jesus.
Oh, what? We were supposed to wear pants? Oh, Jesus, Lord have mercy.
No, like when COVID hit in the store. Thank God for him, because there was no way I could navigate getting everything up online and doing online sales and all the stuff that had to be done with the computer and all this social media stuff. So I use it, I have it, and I use it. And unfortunately, it's a necessary evil. It's just the way the world is. But I would sit and I'd watch YouTube videos and I'd go, okay, I got to post like this and I got to do this and that. And I was trying to learn it. It is physically impossible to learn something you don't want to learn and that you hate. And you're learning it just because it's your job or whatever. It was the worst. It was the worst. And,
I agree.
And so Ryan comes along and he says, oh my God, Dad, your posts are so bad. He goes, how about this? Why don't you just hire me separate and I'll just be your social media guy. 1 month of social media in the store. And he's like, oh my God, Dad, I have to work in the store. You're sorely lagging and things are falling behind. And I'm like, I'm so busy in the store. I have zero time, and I didn't grow up with a computer. Yeah. So I got to learn a whole learning curve for me.
Right.
He stepped in, and I'll just say this, my little kudos. Yesterday, so we have our website up and running, and I have a workshop coming up that I'm going to teach in Nova Scotia, and a plein air thing. We're taking people to Nova Scotia, and I said, they're all asking about, how do I can I rent a car, and can I share something, share a hotel with someone? And I'm like, well, it'd be cool if we could have a little chat. Like some of those guys have a little chat room. So I asked him, he goes, yeah, hang on. And he goes, yeah, their chat's up. Go ahead. And I'm like, that would have taken me a year to figure out how to do. And he did it in 5 minutes. I'm like, these guys grew up with it. I mean, I'm old school. Sorry. And you're funny because you just told me this. Old school. You just told me this. You don't even have a cell phone.
No. Like I said,
that blows me away.
There hasn't
You don't have a cell phone.
Person yet that I need to
You and the one guy in West Africa are the only two guys in the world that have a cell phone.
You know what though?
But
and it doesn't affect me.
I don't have a cell phone. I know. I got no one to call. I
haven't found anybody to call yet. Right? And a lot of people say, when they hear that, they're like, "Oh, I wish I could do that." I have never really had one, so why would I? I don't know what I miss.
Well, it's funny. I left my cell phone at home today. First time in a long time. And as I'm driving to work, I'm kind of going, I don't know. I should turn around and go get it. I don't know. I'm like, you don't really need it. You just work. Like, you don't need it. I'm like, I got to work. I was fine. And I said to run on the way home, I'm like, I did it. I lasted all day without my cell phone. God, they're just addictive things.
My kids do all of my digital work. My daughter takes care of the Instagram. And I don't know whether it's laziness or I just don't want to learn, or I'm at that age.
There's no need. You haven't found a need for it. But it was funny because when you came to the door today, you said, I found my way here or whatever. My wife was,
Googled it,
giving me directions or whatever. I'm like, what? Like, you had your wife give you directions? Like, what? And then you said, I don't have a cell phone, so I got to, I was like, oh my God. So the world now, can't go to the gas station and get a map. That's gone, buddy.
Nope.
So now you got to stay home every day.
I don't have a problem.
But you don't have to wear pants when you're at home. So.
I'm not cutting it down. I mean, maybe one
it's
day
just funny. I haven't met someone with no.
Yeah, I might need one day, and when I do, I'll buy one.
Right.
I highly doubt it. I've gone 62 years without a cell phone. It's why bother, right?
They're gonna come for you,
I have no problem with that either.
They're gonna come and just hand you one and go, you have to have one. How can we track what you're buying?
Well, I like learning new things though, but it's just I don't know. It's just not my. I don't know. I'm an old guy, right? My old way of thinking, and
it's all good. Hey, you manage without it, so that's super good. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. What's on the easel these days, buddy?
Well, right now it's people. A lot of people. I've been photographing family and friends, and I'm going to do a whole series just of people waiting, because that's all I feel my life is anymore in the last few years, just waiting. So it's just people waiting.
All right.
The gallery has a whole bunch of my trains.
The Collector's Gallery. You're in Collector's Gallery. Yes. How long you been in Collector's?
About a year, I think.
All right. I thought it was longer than that.
No, a year and a half.
All right.
Not long. But they have all my watercolors and boats and stuff. So, go check them out, or you can see them online.
Yeah.
But the new directions, bigger, a little more loose, right? Because my style still is dictated from my past of illustrating too.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to break.
Oh, it's hard to break.
It comes in your body that I want to draw, like some of my trains, I have drawn the thread on the bolts. You know what I mean? So come on, right?
Yeah.
It got that obsessive, right? And that comes from illustrating and my eye for detail. Right. So the older that I got and the more knowledgeable that I got, I could make those threads with 2 strokes instead of 50.
Yeah.
So my newer, even though
that's how it works. You learn. Yeah. I always call it economy of brush mark, right? You learn how to say more with less. Not that there's a problem with more, because sometimes some of my paintings, it's, I'll draw like every hair, but then there's parts of the painting where, you don't even know. Well, you just got to do what you do. You do what you do. I'll never forget listening to, it might have been CBC, but it was an interview with Robert Bateman. Oh yeah, and he said, I grew up in the late '60s, middle to late '60s, and everything was abstract. Went to art college, it was all abstract. Yeah. So I tried to paint these abstracts, and they kind of went wonky. And then he said, in middle, maybe early 70s, I got onto acrylics and I started painting, and I tried these crazy abstracts, and then I'd paint a bird.
Yeah.
And then there'd be these crazy abstracts, and they kind of sucked, and I didn't understand them. And then I'd paint a bird. And he said, so the first half of the 70s, he fought always. It was just a fight. Everything I'm doing is a fight. And then in the late 70s, he just woke up one day and said, I'm sorry, this is what comes out the end of my brush. I no longer do any abstract. I'm not going to fight this anymore. This is how I paint. And then he said all through the 80s, it was all this fairly high realistic animals, and he loved animals, and it took off. And look, it came up, blew up for him. It was fantastic. And now, in the late 90s, maybe late 90s, if you look at some of his animals and you see them, they're almost completely abstract. I mean, they're not, they're realistic, but the mark making, and he said, it's there. It had to find a way to get out. Like it comes out. And like you say, you paint every thread on a bolt for a while, and pretty soon you learn how to do it in a different way, and it still reads. Yeah, it still reads. Yeah. You know, that doesn't mean that I don't do that sometimes. Some of the paintings have sections that are just insane, but I know now when not to at the time. You know, and it took me a long time to have a canvas where there was nothing on it, like a part of it where I didn't do nothing, because my illustrating, experience was try to say as much as you can in this block. So you'd fill as much as you can, right? And that's how I always thought. So even some of my illustration-y paintings afterwards were like that. And it took me a long time to go, I'm not going to paint anything there. And a lot of people go, oh, well, that works. Well, that took a long time for me to do. Sometimes it takes a long time to get less is more, and
to get that nothing, right? It takes a lot of work.
Like I've said before, Mark Twain wrote a letter, and at the bottom of the letter he said, I apologize for such a long letter. I would have written a shorter letter, but I didn't have time. Yeah. And it's like, because it's way harder and takes way more skill to say less,
say something and
make it sound the same. Like it is. So that's so hard.
Well, I also worshiped for a while, Norman Rockwell, because I was in that, right? So it was that kind of, illustrating too, right? Tight, and, we used to always joke that I draw with my nose, because I'd be right in there so tight, eh? Where now I draw with my hands, a house paintbrush, a tooth, like whatever I can find. It doesn't matter. Right. You got to make a mark, and as long as it makes the mark. And I, paint in watercolor, I paint acrylic, I paint in oil, I sculpt. I just do whatever it takes now to get what's in my head out. Excellent. So are you a dedicated everyday painter? Yeah. I know. It sounds, I know. It sounds, some people say it sounds facetious to say, I paint every day. I paint probably at least 6 days a week. Most times I can easily paint 7. Yeah. But unless something's going on where I can't paint that day, I'm pretty much every day. Me too. Doing a little bit of something. I'm up at 4:35 in the morning. Yeah. What's with that? Is that like an old guy thing? Age thing. I don't know. All of a sudden, I'll tell you this funny story. My uncle Bill's Swift Current, Saskatchewan. We were visiting. My parents were out. Anyways, my cousin took us. So we went out. Oh God, we tied up the huge, drinking all night. I come home and I got to sneak downstairs and get in the house of my uncle's house. And 5 a.m, I cracked the door, and he's like, "Just coming home, eh?" I'm like, "What are you doing up?" He's reading the paper. 5 a.m. I think to myself, who the fuck gets up at 5 a.m? And I'm sure my uncle's thinking, who the hell comes home at 5 a.m? And I was torqued and whatever. And I just remember, old guys all get up early in the morning. I get up early now. What is that? It just I think I'm going to be wearing white slacks and moving to Florida pretty soon. Tan pants. Well, mine also comes from shift work. Back in the state, I was always on all different shifts and stuff. And I used to fight it. Where I'd lay in bed because it's only 4 o'clock. I'm going to lay in bed. I'm going to fight. Years ago, I figured, what a waste of time. So now the minute I open my eyes, my wife is do it. Get 8. Up, do it. I get up, make my coffee, I go down, put some stones on downstairs, and I paint, or I fart around down there, or I do something to get ready, a couple hours, and every night. Do you have a bit of a routine? Yeah, well, I'm old. Same life is a routine. Yeah, get up, sort of. Have coffee, and then go to the bathroom. Yeah, no, like a little bit of one. You know, I try to change it so I don't become too crazy, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a tear, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of a tear between a bit of a routine. See, I have a routine,
Yeah.
but I feel that my routine's kind of like a hockey thing where you put this
Yeah,
skate
yeah,
on,
yeah,
do
yeah.
this, touch the edge of this,
Yeah.
and you do it the same
Yeah.
but my routine gets my brain into the activity of doing it.
Right.
But I also want to be careful that I don't do the same thing over and over again, because then the painting sort of starts to become
Exactly.
like
Well,
that
that's
you
true.
just do this. And I want the painting to come from nowhere, from somewhere
Yes.
weird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a bit of a tear, but I too have dumb routines in the morning.
Yeah, and little superstition. You know, once I sign a painting, I never go back into it and stuff like that.
Dude,
Like
bingo,
just,
I love that. That's,
you know, like just stuff like
that's
that.
kind
Right?
of, that was kind of my way of saying, I'm done. I'm
done.
Do not work on this painting.
No.
Because I am the world's absolute, I got to think a trophy. World's number one. Oh, I'm just going to touch this painting up,
yeah.
and then the whole thing up. And
I've
ruin it.
done it.
I've ruined it.
Yes.
I'm like, why did I? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So
illustrating was bad for that. Like, you know, well, see, I would do 4 or 5 drawings or paintings, usually paintings of the same thing at the same time. So if I screwed one up, I still got 4 left because it's got to be in by Thursday. You know what I mean? So there was
imagine in by Thursday.
You know, and then you got to be down to 2 because I screwed that one up. So then you finally have one. So you learn how to paint a whole bunch because I got to be in, you know. And now I still paint 2 or 3 paintings at the same time. You know, like not the same subject anymore, but my color palette might be the same for 3 paintings.
Right.
Right, because I just have a little ADD in a minute now, and this comes from illustrating, that I feel something's not right, I stop and I put it away and I go work on another painting.
Excellent.
I don't fight it because fighting will end up, you'll make a bad decision.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and I usually have most of my, I was asked this the other day, like, do you just willy-nilly, you know, kind of thing? Most stuff of my paintings, especially the ones with people like the one behind me, it's pretty 99% of it's already figured out in my brain.
Yeah.
Right. You know, most of the marking's already, you know, there. And there's a little bit where I can wander a little bit.
You've got this, and you want to be here. I just got to do the in-between
In
work.
between the job
Right?
part
That's
of it.
key, is knowing where you want to be with it.
Yeah.
If
no,
you can't envision it as a finished painting,
Right.
it's like going for a walk in the woods and you have no idea where you're going, and
Yeah.
God, you don't know where you're walking or
Yeah.
when you're going to
Yeah.
come back. Like, it's kind of, that's a little,
Yeah.
some people can do that. I know.
Yeah. And I envy them because
I envy them
mine's
too, but-
from illustrating too, where you got to have it, you know, so
you
it's
got
already
to
in my
have an
brain.
end game, right?
Yeah. And, you know, and there's some room for, you know, wiggling
Of
a
course,
little bit.
Paintings take on, illustrating, maybe not so much, but painting in itself,
Yes.
they take on a life of their own and tend to want to go a direction. You got to
Right.
be able to flow with that direction.
Yeah.
But and that's fine. But just to jump
to
in
jump
and
in and-
paint and,
yeah,
and
see,
not
I
have any
can't.
idea what's about to happen, I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh,
I can't paint like that.
whew,
Some people can,
that's
like you said,
walking
and I
a
envy you.
tightrope. No way.
No, that's, you know, that's the same as me. I also still throw some, you know, some little fun into my paintings, and I use, you know, some techniques that watercolor masking in my acrylics, which most people don't, but I just throw it on there, splatter it, and then do my painting and peel it off just so I can have a little bit of
It just
fun.
peels off the canvas?
Yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
don't even think I knew that.
Yeah,
There's
it
a
is
tip for you
trick.
folks out there.
There you go, right?
You get
So,
masking fluid for watercolors just on canvas.
it works on canvas also, right? So I usually sometimes just splatter it on, right? You know, and it's not a secret trick. It's just, that's
Cool. Love
that
it.
way later when the painting's done, at least I get a surprise. It's like,
Nice.
you know, my numbering that's on there, right? And stuff like I put big numbers on my paintings. Sometimes I'll just write things in masking and then do the painting, and all of a sudden
I
you peel
love
it all
that.
apart. Hey, well, that adds some fun for me too, right? I mean, you know, once you paint a train, you can pretty well paint trains.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of add a little bit of thrill for yourself too.
I've painted a few trains, not many,
Yeah.
but a few.
Yeah, and cars.
There
and
is
trucks.
something about them, isn't it?
Yeah.
That train thing is
Yeah.
it's just a whole thing.
I love photographing them. I'm not as much anymore. Like I said, I'm going in a new direction. Even though there's a couple of my new ones have trains in the background of, you know, the portrait and stuff, because you can't get away with it or get away from it, or some kind of steel.
Any
cars.
pure landscapes out there?
No.
Ah,
You know what? For no reason, really. I think I did a few back in high school, and I sold them, you know, to kids for.
Do you remember the
Mother's
first painting
Day.
you sold?
Yeah, it was a little mountain scene, as a matter of fact. It was like, the kind you see from, what's that artist, from TV or
Bob
whatever.
Ross.
Bob Ross,
Right on.
right? One of
Shout
those,
out to
right?
Bobby.
Yeah, miss him. I used to watch that show all the time, right? For the fun. It wasn't my style of work, but it was.
Oh my God, I watched that show religiously.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'd be out on the playground. We're playing football in the afternoon, and he'd come on at 1 o'clock, and I would literally have a watch on my hand, and I'd be like, when we had to wear a watch, and I'd be like, I got to go, guys. It's 10 to 1. And I would run home, and my mother and I would sit in the living room, and we'd watch Bob Ross paint. Actually, when I started, it wasn't even Bob Ross.
Oh, there was another
It was
guy.
William Alexander.
There it is. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The big, fire it in. You got the
remember
almighty brush. Fire it in.
Yeah.
And I'd watch.
Salt him.
And so he'd smack this thing around. And Bob Ross learned from William Alexander.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, here's a funny little story. William Alexander lived in Salt Spring Island. And
okay.
Robert, who did I just say?
Bateman.
Robert Bateman was his next door neighbor. They were neighbors.
Small
I'm pretty
world,
sure,
eh?
I think.
That's crazy.
Anyone correct me if that's not right, but or close to neighbors. Anyways, I would run home and I'd watch it. And I tell you, just the minute he took that palette knife and he'd make a little edge and put a cabin in. And it was like, my head would go, no way. You made a cabin with 3 marks with a palette knife.
Right.
And today, I mean, I'm kind of doing that.
Right.
Not in that kind of, his styly thing, but I still love the magic of making a weird mark on canvas and it reads.
Right.
It's just the most magical thing.
See, that was the only art personality that I even knew growing up. Like I said, I knew no art.
I knew no one either. No. I mean, like you said, we grew up with fathers that did fatherly things, and nobody, you got up, you went to work, you did your job, you mowed the lawn on Saturdays. And
that was my only, those guys on TV, right? I didn't go to galleries. I didn't,
we never went anywhere. I will say my mom painted though. So,
is that right? Eh?
Oh yeah, my mom in the kitchen. So here's this little story. But my mom would paint. I don't know. It was always seemed to be Wednesday, like on Wednesday, and she'd paint in the afternoon, and she'd set up a still life in the kitchen, and there'd be like a little bowl of fruit and some lemons, and then there was this bottle of wine in a wicker basket, right? And I just remember this weird pink bottle, and now I'm pretty sure that I think my mom was just drinking on Wednesday afternoons, and painting was the excuse for it. But I remember coming in the kitchen, and I'd be like 6, and I'd say, "Oh, Mom, your lemon is wrong," and I'd go and say, "They're oval, they're not round, and you need more yellow." And I'm like 6 years old, and I'm already critiquing my mom and yelling at her. Like, it was funny. So that was the only art that I had.
Yeah, me too.
Right, but we grew up at the same time.
Took me a long time.
Where'd you grow up?
In Calgary.
Like, where high school did you go to?
I went to Henry Wisewood.
So did I.
Up Drive. Really? What year you go there? Oh God, I can't remember.
You're older.
How old are you?
You're 1 year older than me.
I'm 62.
I'm 61. But I quit school in grade 11 from Scarlett, then went to Wisewood. So I'd have been in probably grade 10 when you were in grade 12. But you would have been out because I would be in grade 11. You'd be out. So
I started in Beaverbrook. For 6 months.
Shout out to Beav. Ryan's all cheering.
Both of my kids went to Beaverbrook too.
He's a
really.
Beav.
I lasted, I think, about 6 months, and they booted my ass out for playing with matches in the parking lot or something like that. I lit something up there. So anyway, they booted me out, and I ended up going to Henry Wisewood, and that's where I met my wife really at the same time too.
Oh my Lord! Yeah. You've known your wife since high school.
I've been married 40 years this summer.
God, shout out for that too.
Crazy, eh?
Congrats, dude. That's awesome.
Kudos to her.
Right?
Yeah.
And that says something.
You know what? She's been with me the whole time.
Because your mom and dad are divorced.
My mom's passed away, but yeah.
I'm sorry to hear.
No, but they've been divorced since I was a kid, right? So, but yeah, my wife's been through everything. She's seen it all, been there, ups, downs, so really she's the hero, not me.
Wow.
So,
she stuck it through.
But
all those tequila nights.
All those missing tables and stuff. But anyway, so that, you know what, though, the art classes that I was taking at high school really weren't comprehensive.
Who was your art teacher? Do you remember?
God, I don't remember. No.
Oh, I
don't remember what I had for breakfast.
I had Miss Rattray.
Okay, I don't
was
remember.
Upstairs, and Miss Kurlick, I think, Mrs. I can't remember her name, Miss Curling. She could come in the store and I'd recognize her and
Oh,
talk
really?
to her.
Wow. See,
but
I
I always get her name wrong. But she did more of the pottery and the weaving and more of the craft sort of end.
Right.
And my upstairs teacher, she was from South Africa, Miss Rattray. She took a shine to me, and thank God
nice.
She did. And
Nice.
you know what? You know what was lucky for me? I went to school when I switched from. So I didn't light anything on fire in Scarlet, but I had other problems. Well, anything that I was lighting was not catching on fire, but it was smokable. Anyways, I had some problems in Scarlet, and so I had to switch high schools as well. So I went to Wisewood, and when I switched, I signed up for all automotives, auto body,
Me too.
automotives.
I
I'm
was
like,
a
I'm going to be a
car guy.
mechanic. I'm going to do this. Well, I was late signing up, and they were all full, and they basically said you get music or art.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't take music because, I don't know, I can't. And so I signed up for art, and I'd taken art in Scarlet and art in Scarlet.
Right.
With Mr. Harrison. Downard was awesome.
Yeah.
It was good, but I sort of thought, no, I'm not going to go that way anymore. I got to get a trade, right?
Yeah.
But it was full, and thank God it was full because Miss Rattray, grade 11 and 12, took a shine to me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without that high school teacher. She's the one that really said, you can do this, you can do this, and the one that made me go to art college, even though art college sucked.
Yeah.
She at least said, you need to go down this road. You have
That's
this.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So
I didn't. I made a lot of money counterfeiting bus passes. So I was good at that, right? It was my criminal career, right?
Oh my
but
God.
no, I had no.
God, we used to fake. Remember ALCB cards? You had a liquor card to go buy liquor. We'd fake those so we could get in the liquor store, and because you had to be 18. And
I had this old propane truck, and the tanks were so outdated, and I even counterfeited the paperwork so I could get propane out of the tank. Like I don't know. I thought that was art too. So there you go.
Right? You gotta.
But yeah, I didn't come attached to any art teachers, but I was still drawing and entering drawing competitions, like stuff like that all of the time. But I didn't get a formal education till I was probably 30 when I went to ACA.
And what did you take at ACA?
Well, I was taking graphic design work because I thought for sure but I was already showing my work when I was there. Like I was already I think I had both my kids still. Already. I mean, so it wasn't, so I went in there bias and some blinders on. I don't know if I learned a lot, technically because I already knew what I wanted. But it really opened my eyes to art history and, stuff like that really changed, my kind of stuff, right, too. So, and I started illustrating full time while I was still going there. So I honestly, I don't think I finished the last 6 months. I said, I'm out of here because nobody's asking me where I'm getting work. What's your education? They just wanted to see your portfolio, see your work, right? They didn't
Can
care.
you do it? I don't care. I don't care
Don't
what
care.
you got.
Show it to me.
It used to always kind of blow me away that to be a doctor, here's the bar. You got to be above this, and you're like, listen, it's not kind of like still mechanics is a bit like this, but should be, I guess, a licensed mechanic, but a mechanic can do whatever he wants, right? Or whatever. But you want to be a lawyer, you got to pass the bar. You want to be a doctor, dentist, you have to be something.
Yeah.
But in art, you go to art college, go to university, you get a bachelor of fine art, even a master of fine art, and now you're an artist. But your next door neighbor is selling in a gallery 3 times as much as you're selling. He's never been to school once.
Yeah.
It always seemed weird to go to school to get a degree for art when it means nothing.
Unless you're going on to a teaching thing,
I get that, right?
You want to, but you're right.
And so often, 4 years of art college, and then you try and paint, doesn't work out, so you go take 2 years of humanities and become an art teacher, right?
Yeah,
and then even then, look at schools now. This drives me crazy, but schools can't for the life of them find an art teacher,
right?
So they hire you because you've got a teaching degree, and then they look at you and go, oh yeah, you're in English things. Oh, you took some art. Okay, you're an art. You're an art teacher, and they're like, well, I'm not really an art teacher, but they take the job. Thank God someone's taking the job, but man, it's just. And what's the first thing that's cut in schools? Art. It always goes away.
I had a small gig working for some design company. It was years and years ago, and I was doing freelance work for them. And then they wanted me to come and work in the office, and it lasted about 2 weeks because when I got down there were a whole bunch of young. This is like 30 years ago, so I'm pretty sure graphic design's changed a little bit and stuff. I was the only one that could draw there.
Yes.
I went in there, I was like, what the hell, right?
Yes.
You know, we were at a meeting and they said, well, we want this bear. And so I kind of doodled it and everybody was like in awe. These other kids.
Yes. So here's
I was like,
same
I'm
story.
out, right?
It's crazy. Same story. So, this is now quite a while ago. This is probably 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
Across from the store in the Center 70 building, there was a school, and it was like animation, graphic design, and whatever.
Yeah.
And they were from Montreal. They had one in LA, one in Montreal, and they were opening one in Calgary. Very expensive, like $7,000 a semester to go. But they had all the computers. They had everything you could do. And they take these kids, and the one of the head guys there comes to the store and says, "Is there any way we could rent space from you? We want to have drawing classes here, and life drawing, and still life drawing, and that." And so I rented them space.
Yeah.
So Mondays, 2 classes, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They would bring all these kids over, and they hired a teacher, and the teacher would set up stuff. And they would teach these kids to draw. These kids had never drawn a day in their life. And they're in a graphic design program. But their deal was, show me something on the computer and I will make it do some crazy weird things. Like, I can make this happen. But they said, but if I don't have it, if there isn't a bear already in the computer, I'm screwed. Get me a bear. Get me a bear and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, draw a bear. Well, I don't know how to draw a bear. I don't know how to draw. They didn't have perspective. They couldn't figure anything out. All the perspective was done for them on the computer. Right. They couldn't physically figure out on a 2-dimensional piece of paper how to make it work.
Which I think
blow you away on the
everything.
computer.
Yeah.
And the guy said, I got to teach these kids how to draw.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like I remember I'll talk it a little bit. It was, what was that high school down off of Crowchild? It's closed now, I think.
Viscount
Bennett.
Yeah.
So the art teacher I was good friends with, and I was in illustrating and everything like that. And he had a whole bunch of students that were going to go on in that career. So he said, would you like to come down and talk to these students about it? And I'm pretty sure halfway through it, he wished he had a big hook to pull me off, right? Because I went in there because I was already on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so you got all of these naive young kids that are just going to go out there. And I sort of liked the attitude, right? They want to change the world. And I laid it on them. I just like, this is what's coming, right? And I'm not trying to scare you. You know, the deadline thing, that kind of stuff that I was telling you, the pressure. If we're both up for the same job, I will win because I will walk all over you, right? And they're just like, you know, their eyes were just bulged out, right? Because everybody
nowadays it's like, what do you mean? Oh, can't do that. You're not allowed. Oh, you're going to hurt my feelings.
No, it was it's business, right? Because you can shake a tree back then and like 500 illustrators fall out.
Right,
so
absolutely.
You either better be really good or be able to convince people you're really good, right? And I could do both.
Said, be good, get good, or give up.
Yeah. You know, I was gotten really good at it, right? So I just told these kids, you know, what was it? I could see the instructor like just, okay, didn't see this coming, right? But I was honest, right?
Hey, that's the best. That's the best way to be.
You want to get in that kind of career.
Well, it used to drive me crazy. Well, I guess it does still. I go to art college and we had probably when you were there too.
Yeah.
It was 2 different things. There was visual communications, which was all ad art, yada yada yada, and then the basically sort of fine arts, which then was divided into painting and or jewelry, woodwork, and glass blowing.
Yeah, printmaking. I got into that my last year because I thought I
ceramics or whatever. Yeah. But you either were in ad art or not. Yeah. But I go to art college and I wanted to be an easel painter. Right. Meaning I want to get into gallery. I just want to paint paintings and sell paintings and paint what I see. I don't want to work in an ad agency. I can already see that being frighteningly, like you said, oh my God, deadlines. You made my heart skip when you started talking about that. I'm like, oh, deadlines, that's so freaky. I don't want that. But never in junior high, high school, art college, did anyone say to us, here's the multitude of careers that you could have in art. No one ever said there's all these different things that you can do in art. And one of the girls that I went to art college with, ended up working for, I don't even think they're around anymore, but she probably is still in the business, but Neon Signs was a big company.
Yeah.
And she did graphic design for Neon Signs, and she'd just doodle on a piece of paper. She'd draw and go, you want something like this, like this, like this.
Yeah.
And then she'd do mock-ups, and then they'd build a sign.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one ever told me you could be a sign maker. You could design this, you could paint that, you could do murals, you could, they didn't ever tell you. It was just like, just whatever.
It's very misleading. Make sure you sign your name right on the check.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting it out because I still think students
How about spend a year in art college learning to how to write it for a grant proposal? Because you're going to need a grant. You ain't making any money, so you better learn how to ask for free money.
I think all young art students should take the first year, because that's where they open up your eyes where maybe this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it is for you, or if it is for you, this is what's coming. This is how hard it's going to be, unless you got a horseshoe up your ass, which some people do. But it's a fight.
Absolutely.
It's always a fight, right? Do you
take illustration? But do you take jobs still and do?
No, I don't even get offered them anymore because people know.
Well, you don't have a cell phone, so nobody knows where you are.
Call me.
Just bugging.
Give me a call. No, you know what though? When I was younger, I spent I think a good 20 years trying to prove to everybody else that I was an artist. I think that's, I wanted to be accepted because I wasn't when I was young. So I wanted to prove to everybody I'm an artist. Yeah. First of all, by illustrating.
Like you said, we grew up in a time when art is not even a thing, right? Is that like, oh my God, no. And then if you are an artist, it's like, oh, how's that little hobby of yours doing? Or
are you still doodling?
Are you still?
Sure.
You still playing with that, toying with that thing? It's like, how do you prove to someone? No, I actually am doing this. Like, I make money at this.
That is so true, right? You spend 20, 30, well, for me, for sure, trying to convince everybody else in the rest of the world that I was an artist. And then I got to a point, this was after I split on all that I just realized, really, I just need to prove to myself that I'm an artist.
Yes.
And now I could give a rat's ass. I can go to, I can meet 100 people and I don't even tell them I'm an artist.
I don't either.
It's,
I don't even want to tell them because they look at you like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is that?
Do you sell anything? Do you
please show me.
I don't. How much for this?
Well, but I don't know about you, but I was always, you get. Do you? I was taught not to be a braggart. Right. Don't be braggadocious. Don't toot your own horn. Don't talk about yourself. And holy crap, that's true. But man, as an artist, you're supposed to. You should be.
If you don't love yourself, nobody else is going to love you.
They aren't going to, and I still fight that. I find it very, very hard. I'd just rather sit in the corner and go, I pay.
I love myself's work, if that makes any sense. But, where, like I just said, when you're young, you're trying to, I want everybody to know I'm an artist. Any party we were at, even when I was younger, I paint and draw or whatever. And, I'd be in any show, any opening, I'd be there so I could talk about my work and stuff. When you get older, I don't really care.
Listen, like they say, when you're 20, you worry about what everyone thinks. You're 20 years old, you worry about what everybody thinks.
And you should.
When you're 40,
take advice.
You don't care what anyone thinks anymore.
Yeah.
And when you're 60, you realize no one was ever thinking about you anyways.
No, nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody even paid attention to you. You're just an idiot. So.
It's just Then again, I learned some really good things from other people and other artists and other advice from people.
Who's okay? Give me like.
Well, I was showing at a group show up at Devoting Gardens one time, and at that stage I think I was.
Is that place still there?
Oh no, I don't know. This was like 100 billion years ago.
I remember Devoting Gardens. It was super cool. Yeah,
it was a big group show that I was in, and at the time I was doing ink drawings, and I had a whole bunch of ink drawings of brick walls. And I'd punch the brick wall out and then put a figure in the background. And I had a whole bunch of these. And I was arrogant and cocky, 20-year-old guy, right? Whatever. I forget how old I am. I was at that time.
Now you're just arrogant and cocky.
Now I'm just old. Yeah. But anyway, so, right, you're walking around with your Perrier and your little plate of cucumbers thinking you're the rat's ass. And this old guy come up to me and he says, you the artist of these? And I said, yeah, right. And I'm all, yeah. And he proceeded to tear a strip out of me. He was a brick mason, and almost grabbed me by my ear and pulled me over to my drawings and tore a strip telling me that these bricks can't sit that way. That brick would fall. That mortar doesn't look right. And he went through all my... And at that age, I was like insulted. I was like,
of course, yeah.
Who the F are you, right? Best thing that ever happened to me. From that day on, when I paint a cup, I paint a brick, I go and I study that.
Make sure I get it
because
right.
I never want another
right.
old man coming up to me. So it was the best lesson because it looked like a brick.
Absolutely.
Nobody ever said anything. It looked like, oh, that was a brick. But it wasn't that one step, right? So now when I,
what do they say? The truth will set you free, but first it's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's so true, right? So, when I photograph trains, or especially when I was illustrating, if it had to be a girl drinking a cup of coffee, well, I would take 20 photos of a coffee cup, and I'd make sure everything was dead on real, because I never wanted an old man to come up and turn me a new ass. So
nice.
There you go, right? Stuff like that. Those are lessons that you make coming up when you're younger. So even though I cut it down sometimes, and
who's your hero?
I think I don't know. You know what? I was just at the Louvre last year. I don't know if
You
I
went
told
to
you this.
Paris?
Yeah, I went to Paris with my daughter.
Oh, fancy Paris guy with no cell phone.
La-di-da. Oh,
Getting
but my
lost
daughter
with
had
you.
one.
Pierre's French loaf of bread.
The baguette. I was a big Albert Dürer fan,
Oh, yes.
right? And I was, studying art at ACA. I was a fan of all the masters, right? Because I was
Yes.
a realist. Thanks, man. So when I got to go there and see some of the art that was there, it humbled me a lot.
Oh, isn't it crazy?
Well, I mentioned, all of my artist friends, when they found out that I came back, they're all like, oh my God, you must have been so inspired and stuff. And I was just talking about this the other day, really. It did opposite. It bummed me out.
Yeah.
When I got home.
That's right. Oh,
Hey,
dude, I am on the same page.
I looked at my work and I was like,
get all like, oh my God, I saw the greatest art.
go stand in front of a David that's 30 feet by 20 feet and then go home.
Go
and
shoot a puck and then watch Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
It's like, you're
True,
not going
right?
to go, whoa, I got to see Wayne Gretzky. You go, I don't know why I bother.
Break all my sticks.
They did this. They were that good 400 years ago,
Right,
and
that
I'm doing
big.
this crap like
That big
seriously?
with live models and just
They had
so
no cameras.
huge,
They had no
bad
computers,
lighting,
nothing.
just-
and they were doing this shit, and
Right.
we got everything at our disposal.
Everything.
And this is the crap we can do.
I was
tell you,
like-
I am 100%.
I just
I
walked
walk
through
away
there.
going, I don't.
Yeah,
why bother? Why would I? Why am I? Why am I? I
it,
know.
it took me a bit to get my act together to realize, okay, that's not me.
Right?
I got to keep moving in my
you're
direction.
looking at the best of the best.
The
And if
best
we
of the
all
best.
did that, then there'd only be one Wayne Gretzky and no one would play hockey. Because
So
why?
true, right?
Why?
I mean, my daughter laughed because she said when I was in there walking on that I looked like a kid in a candy store because I'd finally seen people that I'd studied,
Yes.
and I got Da Vinci's and this kind of stuff, right? And I was just like, oh my Lord.
But there is a little bit of that when you see it, that they're kind of almost there.
So true.
You feel
I
their
could-
spirit there.
Well, I stood in front of two of Michelangelo's The Slave sculptures, and I am not a like a teary kind of guy, but I was like, oh my Lord.
I love it. I love it.
Like, look where I'm standing. Like, this is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing to me, right? A lot of people go to the Louvre and stuff, but to me as an artist, studying this stuff and seeing them in books and that kind of stuff, blew my mind. Just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was, but then on the other side, right, I come home, want to burn all my paintings.
I know.
Well, plus look at other art, and I started to have a little bit of a negative attitude towards Canadian art, and I was like, oh man, why aren't we? But that's like you
The
can't
emotions
look at
run
it.
so deep and so
Right.
bouncing like a pinball. Like I don't know
Yeah.
where to focus. I don't know
So
where
it
to
took me a
focus.
bit, to straighten that all out and go, okay, that was them, and they're still the greatest artists, like Albert Dürer and stuff like that. You know what? I was standing right beside the one Albert Dürer they got, and they just had it hung down by chains. I'm thinking, oh man, how fast can this old man run? Grab that sucker, right? It was
Yeah.
so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But to be painting that, 500 years ago and still hanging.
Yeah, you should have been in high school when you were thinking about doing that.
Yeah,
Not
a little
60,
quicker,
not
right?
60.
Bad knee.
Bad
But it
knee.
learned me a lot. It's a good experience. Everybody should go and see art or go to Italy and whatever and experience
Oh, absolutely.
that kind of stuff, right?
And thank God they do that. And thank
Yeah.
God they keep this. And
Yeah.
like, man, we used to build shit. We used to paint shit. We used to have rulers that said, art was number one and we have to do it. And now we get a big blue ring in our city. Yeah, and now our city is going to be the big blue ring with the big blue sky.
Right.
Like, oh my God. We're on the leading edge.
So what do you say,
nothing.
right? It's like, I don't know. Sometimes I look around and
God,
stuff, right?
stab me, really?
Yeah, it's just a different, I mean, there's great art in the city, don't get me wrong, right? And I love my work, or else I wouldn't show it to people. So it took me a while to get to that point, right? It's like, okay, I'm on a different path. I'm going to learn from this. Right. I'm not going to change my technique and become, Leonardo.
Well, you can't anyways now. Go ahead.
No, but it makes you a better person to be looking at art.
It does, absolutely.
You know what? I can remember in, it was early 30s, there was some famous abstract artist coming to the UFC, and I forget the name. Like I said, I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. But it was like, I thought it was horrible, abstract, right? I'm looking at this, and I'm younger, and I'm thinking, like, what am I not seeing? What am I not seeing? So he was lecturing that night, so I went and heard him lecture. And this guy was a phenomenal talker, just phenomenal. And he explained how he had every emotion and everything, blah, 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 and he just sold it, right? And I was like, oh my God, those paintings are great. And then I went and looked back at him, and I thought, no, they're still pieces of crap.
That's just verbal diarrhea.
Unless I get him with the painting,
I know. That's what I say.
Beside it.
That's
It's like, I don't know.
I know, absolutely. If you have to either put some sort of diatribe posted next to the painting or stand next to it and explain, like I said, the reason I didn't fit in an art college was I don't have any angst.
Yeah.
I said, my mom and dad stayed married. I grew up in Canyon Meadows. I grew up in a middle-class society. My dad had a job. We never, we weren't rich, but we were never poor. We didn't have want. My dad didn't beat my mom and disappear for 5 days.
Yeah, my dog didn't die.
My dog didn't die. I didn't lose 4 brothers and whatever. I have zero angst.
Yeah, me too.
And so to stand next to my painting and go, these are pretty trees. I'm like, because I live in a pretty neighborhood. I know it doesn't work.
No,
if your painting can't sell itself, you got problems.
It has to stand on its own.
Absolutely.
If you want me to talk about it, for sure. But yeah, it should be.
But if you have to talk about it, like you say, I hate the painting. Oh, wait, now I understand the painting. Now, guess what? I still hate the painting. You're right. I need the dude with the painting.
You need the dude with the painting, right? Well,
come in my living room. Okay, everybody, here's my art. Oh, get the guy out of the closet. He's got to explain.
You know what? The art school pumped that a little bit too, right? Some of their critiques and stuff.
Because they do shit. They're all
full
of
I don't know, right? Some of it, right? Not that good.
I got a thing. I got to be careful. So,
well,
I love art college. It's so good.
That's funny you're talking to me because most of my stuff is usually negative about it. But no, not the first year. Like I said, every art student should go there first year.
I think art college should be like first year of art college should be scared straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, you're going to do this. This is how hard it's going to be. This is what you're not going to make. Yeah. This is the 10 years it's going to take you. Yeah. And you'd better be on your game because there's, you're just in this college in this town. Yeah. Every town has a bunch of these. And now in this city, there's
a few of them.
Art college, there's the university, and the Vancouver one is here. Now there's 3 of them. You got just in this city alone, 3 competitions for the 40, 50 people there. So you got 150, shake a tree. There's 150 people in school. There's 700 going to fall out of the tree. Yeah. And they're all looking for work too, and they're hungry. So if you're not good,
art's a tough business right from even if you're the best of the best. So don't, I had nothing. I had lots of problems with that place.
Right. All right. Okay. Here's the thing. Desert Island. You only got one band. What are you going to listen to?
The Rolling Stones.
I knew you were going to say that. You're in a desert island. You only got one album. What are you going to listen to?
Let me think. Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, he goes Floyd. He switches and goes to Floyd. I thought you were going to say XL on Main Street for sure.
Yeah. Go Ted Soup's good too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But to have an album that I've listened to for 40 years, the one album, Dark Side of the Moon.
I know, isn't it?
But I'm a Stones guy. I mean, Stones are in my studio.
I'm not a huge. I'm a Stones guy for sure. Way more than a Beatles guy.
Oh yeah, me too.
But I'm a Zeppelin guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm all Zeppelin.
That's the area.
All Zeppelin all day. What's that? God, listen to the best.
I have portraits of Keith Richards that I painted. Some Mick.
Oh, that's right. I remember your Keith Richards portrait. Yeah. That's
still
so
hanging
good.
Around there.
Yes.
I'm a big fan.
Right.
I'm gonna be sad when they go, which probably be soon.
No one in the world will ever go 6 decades. They've had an album for 6 decades.
Yeah.
No one else. Nobody. Well,
plus the
Keith
new album
Richards,
is
how is he
good.
still alive? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why
we
are
lost
we
Charlie,
not
but,
getting his genes and figuring out
Figuring out-
that?
even
Because
Mick,
we
too.
could live
I mean,
forever.
he's,
Everyone. We could
he's
solve
old.
all the world's genetic problems because Keith Richards.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because the shit that guy's done to his body.
And the music is, it's time. I honestly didn't become a Stones guy till I was older, and I learned to appreciate it. And I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yeah,
That is
right.
phenomenal rhythm guitar player.
I think he's the most underrated rhythm guitar player
in the world.
I do too.
Charlie Watts was a phenomenal jazz drummer, which fit in with them. And don't get me talking about the Stones. I gotta be here all night.
Whatever, man.
But that's my that's my era. Right? Both of my kids know I'm Stones guy, so for birthdays, fathers, it's usually Stones t-shirts and Stones mugs. And
I love it. I love it. Okay, you got last few things. You got any good books? What's a good book? What should be read? What do you read? Are you a reader?
You bet. Robertson Davies' Fifth Business.
What is that?
He's a Canadian. He's been dead for about 30 years.
I don't know this book.
Robertson Davies. Oh my, check him out. I have read the same book in my life probably 30 times. Same story.
Oh, there you go, folks. There's the book of the month
Robertson
for you.
Davies,
Book of the
Fifth
Month
Business,
Club.
and it's a trilogy. It's one of trilogy. And I'm reading it again. So there you go, right? So
super good. Favorite movie?
Oh Lord, that's an.
Are
I'm
you
a
a movie
Lord
guy?
of the Rings guy. So
Are you a Lord of the Rings guy?
Yeah, so probably Lord of the Rings, I suppose. You know what? My most favorite is used cars.
Oh my God, I love used cars. There's more quotes in that movie. That's the cheesiest stupid movie in the world, but there are more quotes in there with whatever his name and who sell those cars, and he has to sell them, and he has to sell the whole lot by the end. I love that movie.
Cheech and Chong's Up in
That's
Smoke,
Douglas's
too.
favorite movie.
Right?
He loves used cars.
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I forget the guy's name that's in
Kurt
it.
Russell.
Kurt Russell's in it, but the guy that has to,
Yeah,
I forget his name. That was his. That's probably his.
5,000. These prices are too fucking high.
I love it. I love it. Oh, it's so good. So good. Listen.
No, and Up in Smoke by Cheech and Chong.
Oh my
Best
God.
quoted movie I've I still
that was a
quote
game
it.
changer in my life too.
Yeah,
right? Watching that movie, going, no, we can do this on film now.
Kids nowadays, when
I don't care. No, it's all weed's legal now, so whatever.
Hey, that kind of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, give me another question. I like answering questions.
That's so good. All right, no, I've never heard of that book, which is
Robertson Davies.
That's
phenomenal Canadian writer. As a matter of fact,
what's the book about?
It's about how a small event can change life. It's about a kid that throws a snowball, and in the snowball there's a rock, and he hits a pregnant lady in the head, and it makes her kind of brain damage. And it's just how that little event can change everything.
Love it.
It's amazing. I was in Shakespeare and Company, as a matter of fact, in Paris. And they're all Canadian or English books, and I tried to find it there so I could get it stamped, but they didn't.
Cool.
Damn it.
All right.
Go to Shakespeare and Company, too, if you're ever in Paris. It's awesome.
Nice.
Change your life. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, listen, thank you, Brent, for coming out.
Thank you. This has been awesome.
I'm so glad you came down to the podcast room. This was awesome. I'm glad you brought some paintings for us to see. Check out Brent Rambie online as well, and you'll see you give me your FaceTime, Webby time. Give them all that stuff. Throw it out.
Hold on here. I'm technically illiterate.
I don't have a cell phone.
It is. Where's my phone? Rambie Design.
Oh yeah, Rambie Design. Absolutely. I should know that.
On Instagram.
Excellent. Oh my God. Thank you for coming out and hanging out.
This has been awesome.
He lives like 10 minutes from me. Can you believe it? And
it took me 20 to get here because I didn't know where the hell I was going.
You don't have a cell phone and there's no maps.
My wife gave me directions, but
I'm bugging
you,
dude. I'm bugging you now. Now we live in the same neighborhood. Now we're going to be best friends forever. So you watch each podcast. Now he'll be sitting next to me next week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Thank
you guys for coming out and hanging out with us on the Potato Water Thursday podcast. Brent, stay cool, my friend.
You betcha. Thank you very much.
All right.